Hey everyone, welcome to Financial Revelations. I am your host, David Safransky. You can hear me every Thursday morning on WCRF 103.3 in Cleveland. It's a Moody radio station, and if you don't have Moody Radio, I don't know why you wouldn't, or you're not in Cleveland, you could download the Moody Radio app, and you could listen to every show I've ever done on there. They catalog them, I don't know how many people go back and listen to the old ones, but I'm sure there are people because, well, people love me. It's 103.3 Thursday mornings from 8 to 9. You can call here, 800-344-2534, all scrolling below me. And you can see us on Twitter. You can email Corey questions. You could do all that, but I want to take a few minutes at the beginning of this and just kind of gloat a little bit, at least for now. I haven't turned around to see what the market's doing, but we have been telling you to buy the chaos, buy the chaos. And why do we buy the chaos? Well, we don't always buy the chaos, but we're buying it this time, as we did the last two times, because we feel that the return trip, the way back to the top, is going to be probably as equally as fast as the way down. And so you want to buy when markets are down. You know, the age-old adage of buy low, sell high. Well, when the markets are running through a rough patch like they were right now, mainly because of tariffs and some other things that are going on, but mostly because of tariffs, that is not a market phenomenon. I mean, it is true that if the tariffs came into place as they were proposed, stocks would get repriced, the prices would go down. But I was a proponent of believing that the negotiating tool was to bring countries to the table so that we could negotiate a zero tariff. And just before we started this episode, the Trump administration came out with a 90-day reprieve on reciprocal tariffs. And that is humongous because if you believe what they're saying, the tariffs were never meant to actually go into effect. It was a way to get people to the table. Countries to the tune of 70 or 80 different countries are calling the administration looking to negotiate a zero tariffs. You know, to be honest with you, I understand why Donald Trump is doing this. And I've had this argument. I drove with my wife to Florida. She's down in Florida right now, so I'm starving to death, basically. I'm wasting away because I don't cook very well. So I have nothing to eat at home. I just sit there and stare at the grass thinking, I wonder what the grass would taste like. Basically, I'm dying. And we're driving down to Florida and we're talking about tariffs. And she doesn't really love driving long distances with me because I listen to financial radio the whole time. And she'll say things like, this has been the most boring 8 hours of my life. So we started talking about tariffs, and she said, well, what do you think about tariffs? I said, well, if tariffs are so bad, if they're going to destroy our country so much, if they're going to ruin our economy, why does everybody have tariffs? We're like the only country that doesn't have tariffs on stuff that comes in our country. But if you look at Europe, Canada, Mexico, Japan, China has tariffs against us. And why, if it's so bad, if it's going to kill the world, why is it good for them to do to us? And, after I said that, she was kind of thinking about it. She said, you're right. Why is it okay for them to have tariffs on us? Well, it's not okay. What happens when you have a tariff is you're protecting an industry. And I don't care what the industry is. I don't care if it's the felt covered widget industry that you're tariffing from another country, or you're tariffing, you're putting a tariff on other countries coming here trying to sell their felt covered widgets here because you're protecting our felt covered widget industry. You stifle all development. You stifle any innovation because that industry now knows that they're protected, so they don't have to innovate. So consequently, they don't innovate. And what they do is they take all the money that they would have sunk into R&D and product innovation and all those things, and they don't spend it there. They spend it on executive pay and money to shareholders. And now in the short run, that sounds great. I'm a shareholder. I want to get paid. You want to get paid. But in the long run, that investment in the future is way more valuable. And that's the way we got to think of it. So I want to live in a world where there's zero tariffs. There's no tariffs going out and no tariffs coming in. And I think that's where we're going to get to. Now, if you believe the White House, which I do believe this White House. They've been extremely transparent. So they talked about tariffs, they initiated tariffs, they implemented tariffs. All of a sudden, everybody starts calling and coming here. We're talking big countries like Japan. Japan is, outside of the United States, per capita, Japan, Singapore, the United States, probably the biggest consumer economies out there, maybe South Korea too. Well, Japan is definitely a consumer economy. I mean, they do export a lot of things, but companies like Toyota have a philosophy of they build where they sell. Now, they still might bring some engines and transmissions here from Japan, but mainly they're building and assembling those cars in the locality where they're selling. So if you drive through Alabama, which I do, you're going to see Kia, you're going to see Toyota, you're going to see a bunch of auto manufacturers there. But they're coming to the table. These are some big countries coming to the table, and that is really good news. The carrot and stick approach worked, and it's going to be a benefit for our workers, and it's going to be a huge boon for innovation. If you don't protect industries, they will innovate. Trust me. So we've been telling you to buy this chaos because I never thought these tariffs would go into effect as spoken about, and that seems to be true. So, what do I mean about the chaos? Of course, I mean the wild market swings. We were up a couple of days ago, 1,700 points. We finished down 600. The tariff talk, that's chaos. The Doge fallout, chaos. The immigration crackdown, chaos. The Fed not playing ball. Well, they're back in the market. We think that the Fed is going to be in the market 3 to 5 times this year. So let me just couch this for you about how I see the next 3 months. So we got April, May, June. Okay, so I'm talking about the next quarter, the next calendar quarter. We have tariffs coming off. We have negotiations coming on. That is very accretive to the market because I think countries know, because we're doing it to China right now, we just upped Chinese tariffs to 134%. Well, they tariffed us even more. So we ship to China 1/5 of what they ship here. They are not in a bargaining position. They're making a big mistake. And it would have been really easy, I think, to get ahead of this for them, but they chose not to, so we're going to see how that plays out. But the next 3 months, you're going to see tariff talk coming off, you're going to see negotiations coming on, and you're going to see more zero tariff deals. That's very, very good for the market. I can't tell you how good that is for the market. You're also going to see a tax package that's going to codify, put into law, the Trump tax cuts from 2017, and maybe even lower the corporate tax rate. Now, a lot of people can say, well, why would you want to lower the tax rate on evil corporations? Well, because evil corporations, one, are not evil, and they don't really pay a lot of tax in the long run anyhow. So when you think about a corporation coming here and bringing all the people that are employed by the corporation with it, you're talking about jobs, you're talking about tax base, you're talking about school taxes. That's where you create your tax base from. The corporation you want to incentivize to come here to build jobs. And then you think about somebody builds a factory or an office building here, all the things that go on around that, the ancillary businesses, the restaurants, the hotels, car rentals. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Shopping centers. You want corporations to come here and you want to be the lowest tax environment because capital will seek the least restrictive environment. Wherever money is least restricted, that's where it goes. If it's Ireland, and it has been Ireland, money goes to Ireland. If it's Europe, well, it's never been Europe because they're basically morons in the government there. So it's not going to be Europe. Europe can't grow, it won't grow until they become capitalists in a world where you could be anything. Be a free market capitalist. They don't understand that. So that's the chaos. The last part of the chaos is Chair Powell not playing ball, but he is going to play ball. All of these things, when you lower tariffs, when you get energy prices down like we have, these are anti-inflationary. They're not deflationary. Deflation is not actually a good word. And we don't really want deflation. We want low inflation. We want sub 2% inflation. And I understand why they want 2% inflation. It's kind of the grease that keeps the economy rolling. But under the first Trump administration, we were sub 2% the whole time. It wasn't until the Biden administration came in that inflation skyrocketed. And all the books are coming out about the Biden administration, and they're all worse than what you thought. Way worse than what you thought. Insiders are trying to cash in, and so they're going to be more and more inflammatory. I don't know if it's honesty or inflammatory talk, but it looks way worse than what we even thought it was in the Biden administration. So we told you to buy the chaos. Buy the chaos. We were buying this week, we were buying last week, and we're getting rewarded today. And that's going to continue. So that's the next quarter. We're going to be talking about tariffs one way or another, probably through the end of June. But as the Fed gets involved, as the tax package and the budget gets passed and Doge is successful, these things are all very good for the markets over the next 3 months. If there's more chaos, which there could possibly be, it wouldn't surprise me. Buy the chaos. If you're a long-term investor, you buy this chaos. We told you to do that. We were right. We'll tell it to you again. We'll be right again. I'm sick of winning. I'm right so often. I'm getting sick of it. It's getting tiring. I need a nap. I am David Safransky, a real American, a true red-blooded patriot, and the voice you can trust.